The whole family could see the countdown above my sister Estella's head. Everyone knew that she would die on her 16th birthday. So Estella became the most precious person in this house. The delicious snacks were hers. The pretty dresses were hers. Even Mom and Dad's bedtime stories. Those were hers too. Until finally, her 16th birthday arrived. Mom and Dad, fearing that I would cause problems, locked me, burning with a fever, in the storage room. I hit the door in fear. Mom, let me out. I have a fever. My head hurts so much. Mom gritted her teeth. Enough. Your sister only has today left before she dies. Can you not just? But I feel terrible. Gradually, the sounds from the other side of the door disappeared, and my consciousness became blurred. Suddenly, my body felt very light. Through the old wooden door, I could see the warm lights of the living room. Mom and Dad were sitting very close to Estella on the sofa. Estella was wearing her only new pale blue dress with tiny stars embroidered on the hem. Her face looked especially pale under the light of the lamp. Her lips had almost no color. Mom, Dad, is Ivy really okay? A lump formed in Mom's throat, and her eyes reddened. Just focus on your birthday tomorrow. Do not let her ruin your mood. Estella pressed her lips together and did not say anything else, but she frowned even more. I knew that she always felt like she owed me something. In the living room, Mom tenderly touched Estella's face, softly brushing the loose hair from her forehead with her fingertips. Estella, do not pay attention to her, Mom said with exhaustion in her voice. That girl has been jealous of you for as long as she can remember. You know that. I froze. Yes, I was jealous of Estella. I was jealous that she had all the favoritism, jealous of her new dresses, jealous that when she had a fever, Mom would take care of her all night, jealous that even with only one day left to live, she was still the apple of Mom and Dad's eyes. I floated towards Estella, wanting to hold her hand, wanting to tell her that I really had a fever, that my head hurt so much. But my hand went right through her body as if passing through a wisp of fog. I stopped in the air staring blankly at my transparent fingers. I was already dead. What happened before Estella's countdown reached 0 was in reality my death. Memories rushed in like a tide, bringing with them the smell of old dust. The summer I turned 7, Mom roasted a chicken. 2 golden, gleaming thighs rested on top. At dinner, Mom carefully placed both thighs on Estella's plate. Estella, eat more, regain your strength. There were only a few vegetables on my own plate. Suddenly, tears fell from my eyes. Why does Estella get both thighs? I want to eat them too. I also want chicken thighs. Dad's chopstick slammed hard against the table. Ivy, how can you be so inconsiderate? He stood up, his face shadowed with anger. Do you not know that Estella's health is delicate? Do you not know that Estella? He could not continue. I did not know. I only knew that Estella's complexion was always very pale, that she sometimes coughed, that Mom and Dad always looked at her with that expression. But I did not know what that meant. Why? Because everything belongs to Estella. I yelled, jumping up from my chair and pointing at Estella, who was sitting across from me. Why do you not just die already? Give me back my things. Estella's tears fell instantly. Large drops splashed onto her plate. She opened her mouth but could not make a sound. Mom jumped up and slapped me across the face. That was the first time I had been hit so hard. Estella lunged to protect me, but Mom held her back firmly. Let her learn her lesson about what she can and cannot say. The next day, I heard Mom and Dad talking in the kitchen. There are only 9 years left. Mom's voice was a cry. I know. Dad's voice was hoarse. 9 years. Only 9 years. It was then that I knew Estella would really die, that the numbers above her head, which no one else could see, were her countdown of life. Back in the living room, Mom and Dad, with red eyes, carefully sent Estella back to her room. I watched, my heart suddenly aching. We should let Ivy out. Dad's voice was soft. Mom remained silent for a long time. Let her endure it a little longer, she finally spoke. Her voice sounded so exhausted that it seemed to require all her strength. At least let us allow Estella to spend this birthday in peace. Just for this day, the last day. I saw Mom raise her hand to wipe her eyes. Ivy will understand. She seemed to be convincing herself. After Estella is gone, we will definitely make it up to her. Dad did not say anything else. He simply walked to the kitchen, took a small piece of bread from the cupboard, and walked towards me. Ivy, he said softly towards the door. Dad brought you some bread. Eat something. Do not stay hungry. I floated in front of him and reached out to touch his face. My fingers went through his body. A sigh. Dad sighed and stood up, disappointed. This girl is still sulking. He pushed the bread a little further through the crack of the door. Stay in there and behave well. Do not cause trouble. After your sister is gone, Dad will definitely make it up to you. I did not wait for him to discover me. I looked at his retreating back and said quietly, It is not necessary, Dad. You do not need to make it up to me. You will never have the chance. After Dad left, the hallway became quiet again. Soft sounds came from the living room. Mom came out of Estella's room, gently closed the door, and stood dazed in the hallway. She looked at the door of the storage room. Her lips were pressed together, as if she were struggling with something. Finally, she approached and squatted where Dad had squatted a moment ago. Ivy, her voice was soft. Do not blame Mom, okay? Mom knows that you feel treated unfairly, she continued, her fingers unconsciously picking at the splinters of the door panel. But Estella only has 1 day left. Just let her have this. Let her go happily. Okay. I floated in front of her, seeing the moisture in the corners of her eyes. She raised her hand and wiped them quickly, as if she were afraid someone would see her. After Estella is gone, Mom will prepare your favorite hamburgers. A whole plate, all for you. Her voice grew smaller and smaller, finally turning into almost a whisper. I will buy you a new dress, the one with bows. You have always wanted one, right? Mom will take you to the amusement park. We will ride the carousel, the roller coaster. Did you not say that all your classmates had gone except for you? Her tears finally fell, hitting the old tiles of the hallway and spreading into small dark spots. I will give you everything. Everything. So just for today, do not cause problems. Okay. I reached out my hand, wanting to dry her tears. She waited for a while. The storage room remained silent. The sadness on Mom's face slowly faded, replaced by a kind of anger. She stood up suddenly, stumbling because the movement was too abrupt. This girl is so inconsiderate, she muttered quietly, her voice thick with tears. She does not think about her parents at all. I raised you all these years for nothing. She turned around and walked away quickly, her back stiff. As evening fell, the sky gradually darkened. Mom came out of the kitchen, carrying a small basket with a red cloth inside, along with colored paper and scissors, birthday decorations prepared for Estella. She had just arrived in the living room when the doorbell rang. It was Grandma. Grandma was holding a bulging, full cloth bag. Upon seeing Mom, she forced a smile. Mom, why are you here? Mom was a little surprised and quickly stepped aside to let Grandma in. I came to see Estella. Grandma's voice was a bit hoarse. She placed the cloth bag on the table and took out several apples and some pastries. Tomorrow is the girl's birthday. I came to see her. Estella is resting in her room, Mom said, taking the things from Grandma's hands. Please, sit down. I will call her. No, it is not necessary. Let her rest well. Grandma sat on the sofa, her gaze sweeping across the living room, frowning slightly. Where is Ivy? Why do I not see Ivy? Mom's expression changed instantly. She is in her room doing homework. Mom avoided Grandma's gaze, lowering her head to arrange the red cloth in the basket. Grandma did not say anything. She just looked at her. Homework. I will go see how she is doing. Mom stood up quickly. Ivy is throwing a tantrum. I have her reflecting in the storage room. Grandma's movement stopped. What did you say? She asked, word by word. You locked Ivy in the storage room, knowing that tomorrow is Estella's day. Mom's voice grew smaller and smaller, finally almost inaudible. Grandma's face darkened slowly. She stood up, swaying because the movement was too sudden. Mom tried to help her, but she was pushed away. Susan, Grandma's voice trembled. Ivy is also your daughter. Mom collapsed into a chair, covering her face, her shoulders shaking violently. And now you will not even let the sisters see each other for the last time. Grandma's voice was hoarse. Estella is going to. She is going to leave tomorrow. Ivy is her only sister. The sister she has protected since childhood. How can you let Estella leave? Let her leave with regrets. I did not. Mom's voice leaked through her fingers, broken and fragmented. I just wanted Estella's last day to be happy. I did not want Ivy to bother her. The night grew deeper. The door to Estella's room remained tightly closed. Go to sleep, Grandma finally spoke with a hoarse voice. Tomorrow we still have to get up early. Mom moved as if she wanted to say something, but finally just shook her head. I cannot sleep. Dad did not move either. Grandma sighed and did not insist anymore. She stood up, walked to the storage room door, squatted down, and said softly through the crack. Ivy, Grandma is here with you. Do not be afraid. My tears fell again. Time passed second by second. The candles burned out, and the living room went dark. The sky outside the window gradually lightened, changing from deep blue to grayish blue, and then to the pale color of dawn. The first rays of morning light broke through the glass window, falling on the old floorboards, illuminating the dust floating in the air. Grandma stood up, walked to the door of Estella's bedroom, and raised her hand to knock, but stopped in the air. She hesitated for a long time, and finally just said quietly, Estella, it is time to get up. Slight sounds came from inside the room. The door opened. Grandma, Mom, Dad, she said softly. Showing a faint smile, Mom stood up suddenly and ran to hug her, holding her so tightly as if trying to melt her into her own flesh and bone. Dad also approached, his hand trembling as he gently touched Estella's head. Estella, Mom's voice was completely broken. I am fine, Mom, Estella said quietly, her hand gently patting Mom's back. I am really fine. Grandma stood to the side, watching in silence. She observed for a long time, then suddenly remembered something and turned sharply to look at the storage room. Evie, yes, her voice rang out, especially clear in the quiet morning. Quick, let Ivy out. Only then did Mom and Dad remember me, locked in the storage room. They smiled through their tears, saying repeatedly, yes, let Ivy out. Ivy is still in the storage room. Her sister is fine. These are wonderful news. Mom pulled Estella while Dad walked ahead. The family of three ran towards the storage room, their faces full of joy. But when they reached the storage room door, and Dad's hand barely pushed it open, his expression changed drastically. He suddenly jerked his hand back, muttering, Number, everything is wrong.